I I want to say good morning to everybody. I want to let you know that I am changing the live that I had scheduled. Something happened to me last night, and I want to share that instead. So the live that I was planning on sharing today, unfortunately, will not get shared today, and that happens to me a lot when I have a grieving experience with either a griever or with something that happens through me, and that's where I'm at today. So thank you. Welcome. Let's talk I want to talk today about a part of grief that no one ever talks about. The part that people don't share. The part that you don't hear people talk about. There's so many parts of grief that you don't hear people talk about, but this one specifically that I want to go into. And that is that whatever your character is in life, whoever you are in life, you are going to grieve the same way. Hear me out. And I've said this before, but I want to go even deeper in this. Whoever you are in your life, however you show up, if you show up as the person that is always strong, you are going to grieve as the person that is always strong. And not only that, that showing up as strong can hold you back. If you're always avoiding your emotions, you're going to continue to do that in grief. If you're a person that always needed control to manage your way through heartbreak, through life, through situations, you're going to grieve the same way. But here's the truth, because grief doesn't change who you are. Your character is your character, and that character is going to show up, period. And if you don't learn how to grieve as yourself and don't learn how to grieve with your character traits, I don't even want to call them flaws. I want to call them character traits. If you don't know how to manage these character traits, it is going to expose every bit of who you are. And if you don't learn how to grieve as yourself and with these character traits that you have, you can stay stuck or you can avoid the grief forever. Today, I want to break this down for you. We're talking about how your character is shaping your grief, how your character is shaping who you are, and how this is not necessarily a problem, but it is something that you need to be aware of. It is a starting point for where you're grieving. What are we talking about? Why strong people often avoid emotions, why they avoid feelings, why someone who always spins in confusion will continue to spin in confusion even though they're grieving. I want to talk about the quiet ways we use fear as a way of protecting ourselves, and staying in the pain, and why we don't need to become someone new to begin healing. You don't need to become someone new. You need to become aware of who you are. So I want to talk about this out loud. I want to talk about this out loud as a grief expert and sharing my own story. So I want to go back with you guys to last year, if you will allow me. Last year, my mother, if you guys know me, if you've been around me at all, you know that my dad died in 2013. My mother was diagnosed with dementia, and the exact form of dementia is Alzheimer's. And they're also looking at her for possibly Lewy body dementia. So, Aida and Debbie, can you do me a favor? Can you tap the screen and get me to 2,000, please, so they share the live. Thank you. Not my rules, theirs. I appreciate it. Anybody else who wants to join in, I would love it. So my mom started telling me that she couldn't remember things. But I want to tell you about my mom. My mother had this really bad habit of getting all of our names mixed up, or forgetting what day it was, or forgetting to show up for certain things. Like she did that our whole lives. So when she said she wasn't remembering things, I didn't jump in all the way, but I mean, I understood. So We set up a doctor's appointment. She went to we went to her regular doctor. He referred her to a neurologist. She went to the neurologist. They ran some tests. There's a question and answer sheet. She had to fill that in. And I think they did an MRI. Anyway, she was diagnosed. Okay. No big deal. She wasn't really showing the signs to us yet. But I did what I always do. I became the oldest daughter. I became the strong one. I became the lady who set up the appointments. My brothers and sisters will tell me all the time, you always act like you're the boss of us. It's not that I act like I'm the boss of us, but as soon as something happens, you guys call me. So I'm doing my job, right? So that was last year. They decided she should probably try to fill in for this test to go through the they had this new medication out. We tested her for that. We've decided she was absolutely a candidate to get these shots. She would have to go every 2 weeks, stay in the doctor's office for 4 hours, have these infusions done to possibly reverse the Alzheimer's or keep her where she was. I'm closing my eyes because I'm trying to remember it. We went through all the testing, which meant more doctor's visits, all of that. I did all of that. Answered the phone calls, all of that. My sister flew in. She went with her there. My mother decided she didn't want to do it. Okay, fine. One of the things I looked at in the meantime was starting her on palliative care. She sort of qualified, but wasn't really there yet. And she decided she didn't want to do that. Around January, she started telling me that her eyeball hurt. I sent her to the doctor. Look, I'm the strong one. I'm doing all the things, right? Never once do I dial in to the fact that my mother has Alzheimer's. Never once do I allow myself to feel that. I want to be honest with you guys. I'm standing up here absolutely honest because through this experience, I want to share with you guys. Hear me out. We all know that the plumber's house needs to have plumbing work. I went to the electrician's house and his switch is hanging off the wall. Like he literally needs to fix that switch. Well, it's the same thing for the grief specialist. Sometimes she's so busy, she's not paying attention to the things that need to be done or the grief that she needs to allow in. It's the same thing for the griever. Sometimes we become so strong in the grief that we don't, or our character takes over, we don't allow the grief in. So that's what I'm trying to share with you today. So in March, I go in to see her and I take her to the doctor. They do a CAT scan and she is fully infected in her right sinuses. Healthcare workers who deal with grief. Sorry, J Stock, I'll be with you in just a second. So she has to have surgery. I set up the surgery. I set a text message with my brothers and sisters. So I called the doctor. I set up the text group. I have my sister order the food. I do the checklist to make sure everything is okay. I make sure everything is going right. You see what's not on this list is grieve. It's having a moment of emotions. When you're the strong one, you go through the checklist. You go through the checklist of everything that you have to do, right? So she has the surgery. My brother's there. He stays with her. Everything goes well. We're communicating through the text group. Well, she has to have this implant removed. So I decide that because it's a good time for my husband and I to now go. We were in March and now we went again. So you guys all know that I went to see my mom 3 weeks ago. She had to have surgery. She had to have this fistula removed. So it was called the dentist. Fight with the dentist. Change the dentist. Move the dentist's office. But I sit there for the surgery. I do the surgery with her. One of the things I noticed while I'm doing the surgery with my mom is that my mother is starting to slip. She's just off. Okay, let me give you an example. She loses her necklace. She wears a cross necklace every single day. She couldn't find the cross necklace. She's trying to convince me that the dentist stole the necklace. She's frantic, but I'm like, the neck. I'm like, did she have the necklace on? I don't know if she had the necklace. Going back and forth. Finally, Tony says to me, Sharon, she had that necklace on this morning. This is days after the dental appointment. She took the necklace off in her office and put it on the bookshelf. We don't know why. I'll never figure it out. It's okay. I didn't find it. I didn't figure it out. But while I was frantically searching through for the necklace, I ended up going into her jewelry box and I pulled out a ring. I pulled out a ring that she was supposed to have given to my sister. It was a very expensive ring, a very expensive large diamond ring that my mother had that has a story made to it. My mother got this diamond ring made. I'll never forget it. I was a teenager, a young teen, a young adult. She had this ring made. She put it on layaway. She didn't tell my dad. She paid it off, and then somehow when my dad found out just before she got it out of layaway, and it was a big deal in the house. And she had this ring. I open the jewelry box. I take the ring out. I go, "What is this ring doing here? You were supposed to give it to Yolanda. She was going to give it to my other sister." And she walks over and she goes, "I've never seen that ring before." She says, "That's not mine." And I said, "Yes, Mama, this is your ring, remember?" And I tell her the whole story. And she says, "It's really pretty." And she puts it on. "Well, do you think I should start wearing it?" "No, you're giving it to my sister." But anyway, we put the ring back, and I was like, that's not right. So I start to notice she's slipping. She's also kind of falling in the cracks. Like we're here and there, and we're helping her, but we're not, people aren't able to really be there for her. Okay, that brings me to this part of the story. So I decide to call the palliative care people that I met with last week. I decided to call them to see if they could reevaluate her for palliative care. Here's my thought. She'll get a nurse coming to visit her once a month. She'll get a CNA once a week. And at least we'll have someone in there who's taking care of her needs. That's my thought. She's getting to that point. She's got pulmonary hypertension and heart disease as well. The lady comes in. She calls me the next day. She's like, "Sharon, I'm so excited for you. I want to let you know your mother is approved, but we've decided to put her on hospice. We decided to put your mom on hospice because she will actually get more services and she actually qualifies," which I thought was a beautiful thing. She said, "Let us do this now and let her get her the more services because she's there and she really does qualify for this." Okay, great. And the way she explained it to me, it went right here to my head. It absolutely went right here to my head. And this is where I'm getting at with you guys. She said, "Good news. I spoke to the doctor and your mom qualifies." It went right there. I was like, "Oh, okay. Now I got to do all the things to set up my mom for the starting of her care." So, I had to talk to the nurse and Chaplain J and the CNA and my sister and my brother and her stepdaughter. I had to write her stepdaughter an email so that she could explain to the dad that this is what we were doing, that we felt this was the best for our mom. All of this is a checklist, my friends. All of this is a checklist that went exactly to my brain. This is also a part of the Be Strong. Yesterday, I'm in here with all of you, and I say, the business of grief, absolutely. I say to you, in part of my talk, I said, And this week we put my mom on palliative care. I heard myself say it. I heard myself say it. And I want you to know that I would have been the same as if I said, "Can you give me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?" It was so freaking intellectual and so in my brain. It just went right there. Not once have I slowed down. Not once have I slowed down to think of what to really allow this to go in my heart. It has been so busy and so crazy doing all of the things for my mom, setting up all of the things. I haven't slowed down. Every single experience with this event of my mom going on to hospice is a grieving experience. Everything that changes is a grieving experience. Every decision that's made is a grieving experience. It has been a grieving experience since day one, but I haven't allowed it in because I've been doing all of the other things. I've honestly been doing all of the other things. So yesterday, the social worker called me last night. Her name is Jennifer, and she was very sweet. And she called me last night. And the social worker's job is to make sure that we, the family, have everything we need. So her questions were directed directly to us, me as the family. How many brothers and sisters do you have? Is everybody employed? Is anybody struggling? Blah, blah, blah. We go through the whole thing. In the process of that, she says, "Oh, I want you to know I looked up your website." Well, because my email is SharonBrubaker.com, it causes people to look up my website a lot. She goes, "I see that you're a grief specialist." I say, "Oh, yes." So we start talking about that. We start talking about grief. I pull into the driveway because I'm talking to her in the car. I pull into the driveway and she said, "You know, even as a grief specialist, you still have to allow the space for grief." And the minute she said that, I immediately dropped from here to here. Because it was that was the very first moment that I allowed myself to be the griever. It was the very first moment that my heart felt anything. And I was sitting in front of the garage and I was thinking, my mother is in hospice. It was the first time it hit me. My mother is in hospice. My mother has Alzheimer's. I had never allowed that thing to hit me before. And I said to her, "Oh my gosh, I've never allowed this thing to touch my heart before. I'm just now realizing it." And friends, I want you to understand that it was because of the business of grief that I had to do all of the things, like Suzanne is saying, the business of grief, because I tend to be an intellectual person and go intellect all the time. It was easy to stay up here. So I dropped down here, and she said to me what I say to each and every one of you. When you think the thought that your mother is in hospice, how does that feel? She said it to me. And I want you to know that I got really mad because I was like, don't use my own words on me. I really did get mad. I'm not kidding. But I was like, "Ugh." But I said, "Sharon, how do you feel?" And I felt sad. Here's the thing that I want you guys to know. Suzanne says, "I don't know what's worse, being numb or bouncing from your brain to your heart and back." I don't even think that I was in the numb yet. I think I was totally covering up the numb. I haven't gotten numb yet, but so I had to be sad. I want to go back to that moment. I was sitting there, I was looking at the garage, and I was like, "Man, this is heavy. I really feel sad." Because the next thought that I had, because you have a thought and then you have a feeling, "Oh my gosh, I'm losing my parents. I'm losing my parents." The next thought that I had was, "I'm losing my parents." And that scared me because so many of you have shared that with me. It's nothing that I've ever thought. It was far off from me. I thought it was far off from me. And so the thought of losing my parents became very sad. Hear me out, my friends, when I tell you, whatever your character is, You're going to show up as that character as in your grief. You absolutely are. And then the grief special, the social worker, Jennifer, bless her heart, very nice lady, don't want to be disrespectful, proceeds to tell me that I'm going to grieve for the rest of my life and a lot of other things. And I was like, thank you, ma'am, but thank you. And she will be great. She'll be great for my family. But I just needed to, even now as I'm talking about it, it's like really taking my breath away. If she hadn't have said that thing, if she hadn't have said that one thing, I would have stayed here for much longer. But now I've got to gently go down here and I've got to allow myself to go into the sad. I got to go into the sad. So let's talk about things that most grief experts don't say out loud. Who were you before the loss is exactly who you're going to be while you're grieving. I was the lady who was strong. It's my job. It's part of my character. It's my birth order. It absolutely comes about because of my birth order. The way you show up in life is the way you're going to process your emotions. The way you avoid hard things does not magically disappear because you're grieving. Just because something is devastating doesn't mean that you're going to learn how to deal with it differently. In fact, grief often turns the volume up. It turns the volume up on who you are and what you are doing. So if this is me every day, this is me, the griever. The volume just gets turned up. It just gets bigger. It gets louder. It exposes who you already are. I'm telling you, this is why so many brothers and sisters fight. So many husbands and wives fight while they're going through the grieving experience. It exposes who you already are, sometimes in ways that make you uncomfortable with what you see in their character and what they are seeing in yours. It is not suddenly that you become someone new. You don't become Sharon Brubaker, the nice griever. When I tell you I'm a be strong griever, I am a be strong griever. If you are a confused griever, if you're a person that's always spinning in confusion, you will be a confused griever. If you are lazy, you will be a lazy griever. Oh, yeah, I'll get to that. If you're selfish, you're going to grieve selfishly. You don't suddenly become someone new. You grieve the way you live. You grieve the character of who you are. If you're someone who avoids conflict, I'm going to tell you, you will avoid the hard truths of this grief. If you're someone who overfunction, who has to do everything, who has to be in control and in charge, you will grieve by taking care of everyone around you while ignoring your own needs. I'm going to say that again. If you're someone who overfunctions, you are going to grieve by taking care of everyone around you while ignoring your own needs. If you're someone who totally numbs out or checks out or stresses out, you'll find yourself shutting down emotionally after loss. Thank you, Aida. Aida says, I avoid everything. And that, my love, is not failure. That's called your human nature. And we as grievers have to understand where we come in with this human nature. The grief just revealed what was already living underneath. And I'll be the first to admit that I'm strong. I always have been, and I probably always will be. As a matter of fact, the social worker said last night, where are you in the birth order? Because it makes a difference. It absolutely makes a difference. Are you the problem solver? Are you the doer? Are you the doer? Are you the person that takes care of everything? Are you the fix-it person? This right here, the being the fix-it person, was got me out the door looking for how to fix this grief thing. Are you the doer? Are you the fix-it person? I've been holding things together for other people for most of my life. I have a brother that's older than I am. A lovely, lovely man. His name is Keith. He is 18 months older than me. He is a police detective. Has been a police detective for 40 years. He's retired. Carried a gun all of his life. But when we were young, he was very shy and quiet. We didn't perceive him as shy, other people, but he was quiet. And he is not he doesn't do confrontation. He just doesn't do confrontation. Well, check this out. My dad would make rules for the five of us. Well, it wasn't the five of us, it was really the four of us. And we would be like, brother, you need to protect us and tell dad we don't want to do it that way. And he was like, no, I think we should just do what dad says. Well, that didn't go well with me. And I didn't like that. And so I always spoke up. And because I always spoke up, I was always in trouble. And I was always the person in the conflict. But hear me out. I want you to hear this. When it is known fact that if you have a boy and a girl that are firstborn, they're both treated as the firstborn. So he and I both got the firstborn responsibilities. He got more of the male ones, and I got a lot of the female ones. And then all the littles came after us. Hey, Bella Red, how are you doing? And so that was kind of how it was. So it was easy for me to step around him and be like, no, Dad, we're not doing that. We don't want to do the dishes every night. We want to do this. I don't know. I always had some idea of some shenanigans going on, right? That same thing has led me to when my dad was sick. I was the one doing this. My mother got pregnant when I was 10 years old. She got pregnant with Erica. It was not uncommon for me to be the one that was taking care of Erica, making the bottle, changing the sheets, doing the laundry, holding Erica while my mom was doing stuff. That's how Erica and I got our relationship. It was not uncommon for me to be the fix-it when Erica lost Austin. But when grief comes, when people I love most in the world died, my strength doesn't stop the pain. It can't. Even though I wish it could, even though I lean into it pretending like it will. Sometimes I can't figure out a way out. Sometimes I can't figure out a way out of this be strong. I can't get out of it fast enough to stop the heartbreak. And the truth is, I don't know how be strong. I don't know how to do the be strong and be broken at the same time. Just don't. One of the things I have done though recently is I at least acknowledge that I am a be strong person. I acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge it. Why? Because one of the things I used to say to Erica when Donovan had died, I would tell her, and I was saying it jokingly, but it's true. Okay, I'm going to be strong until 4:00, and then I'm off the clock. So that was during the funeral time. So here every day we're planning the funeral, we're making calls. Erica was out of the house. I was mostly in charge of making the calls and orchestrating everything. And I didn't know how to be strong and allow the emotions in. So one of the things I did by saying that, I realized what I was doing exactly that. I was doing the be strong, and I was allowing myself time to grieve. A little bit. It wasn't a lot. I did most of my grieving after I left. Here's the truth. You're not going to be able to figure out how to do both. What you have to do is acknowledge that you are both. You have to acknowledge that you are the confused person, that you are the person that struggles with anxiety, and that this grief has really brought on the anxiety because your character is not going to change. It is not going to change because you are a griever. And so we have to try to grieve in the way of who we are. And I had to try to learn how to grieve in strong, in control, clean, quiet, and manageable. That didn't always work for me. It actually held me back in some spots. I wanted to move through the pain without ever letting it touch too deep. I wanted to control the grief. I told myself that I was okay. I even helped everyone process. I would check on everybody. I would see how they were doing. I showed up. I kept the house going. This is what I do. I make sure that no one saw me fall apart, especially during the time of Donovan. Everything inside of me was shattering, but because I was being strong and because I could keep going to that be strong, I could keep the grief from moving. But yesterday, what happened when she said that was I had no choice. I made a decision that I was going to let in the sad. I don't want this to be a video where I'm sit here and I cry in front of you guys to prove that I can do that. That's not where I'm at. But I can let myself go there even as I'm sitting here right now and think about it. Man, this is crazy. Because of the outer strength that I had, I knew that I could protect myself from showing the grief to anyone else. And I know that I'm not the only one doing this. I know that you guys are doing it as well. I know some of you are listening to me and you are strong women and you are the rock of your family. You are the person that everyone leans on. You're the one that always figures the way out. You're the one that deep down, if we're being honest, might not be feeling as much as everyone else is. You're not showing it. Or maybe you're feeling it inside, but you're refusing to let it out. Because you think that even if you let it out for 1 second, you'll never stop crying. How many times do grievers tell me that? If I just start, I'll never be able to stop. Or maybe you're feeling everything and refusing to let it out. Because you think if you let it go, even for 1 second, you won't be able to stop crying. You won't be able to let it go. But let me tell you this. Being strong isn't about weakness. It's not about weakness. It's okay to have your strength. Keep your strength. I'm okay with it. Keep it. It'll become the one thing that you need that keeps you from dropping into the grief at certain moments. But you also need to use this strength to drop into the depths of the grief. You have to say to yourself, it's okay. I've got to go here. You want to stay upright, but your grief wants to take you to the floor. And that internal tug of war is what keeps you stuck in your grief. And it'll keep you stuck even longer. I know this about myself now. I know that I can't keep here with doing all the things. I can't stay in my brain. I teach it to you guys every single day. If she hadn't said that to me, I don't think I would have gone in there yesterday. I don't think I would have let it touch. Bella Red says questions. Is the strength about autopilot? Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's also about running from it, hiding from it, and protecting yourself. Being in the strong women that we are, being the strong women that we are, it's also about protecting ourselves. Because I don't want to go in here and feel this. I don't want to feel sad. But it has to be done. I'm saying sad, but it is thousands of emotions that we're going to feel. We can say things like, I don't know what I'm feeling right now. I don't know how to grieve. I just feel so lost. Let me go check on the kids. Let me see what they're doing. Let me see that all the appointments are made. Did I take care of this? Did I take care of that? And while some of that is absolutely normal in grief, it absolutely is, it's not the same for us, the be strong person. I want to challenge you today. I want to challenge each and every one of you. I want to challenge you to go into your heart and look at what you're feeling in your emotions today. What are you feeling about your mom who may have been diagnosed with something recently? What are you feeling about your child that you have lost? What are you feeling about your husband? What are you feeling about the parent that you have lost? What emotion is coming up for you? I want you to identify it. Identify it for yourself. One of the other things, so that is on the be strong. But one of the other things that we tend to do is we tend to spin in confusion. Grievers will tend to spin in confusion. Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Should I do this? Should I do that? Or should I go here? Should I go there? We absolutely don't know what is the next step and what is the thing to do. So many grievers live in a state of emotional confusion. It is also a protection mechanism. It is protecting you from going down into your heart. Confusion lives in your brain. Be strong lives in your brain. Keep busy lives in your brain. I just said this earlier, but I'll say it again. I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know how to grieve. I just feel so lost. And some of that is absolutely true. And some of it is disorienting. But I want to challenge you. Sometimes when you say, I don't know, you actually do know. And you need to ask yourself the question, I don't know what to do. So ask yourself the question, what should I do now? And the first thing that comes to mind is the answer. What am I feeling? Now. And the first answer that comes to mind is probably what you're feeling. What am I avoiding? What am I avoiding now? You do know that you miss them. You do know that you feel angry. You do know that you feel forgotten. You do know that you feel abandoned. You do know that you feel afraid. But instead of feeling any of those things, you spin in your brain over and over and over again because being here in the confusion is so much easier than being here in the heart. Why? Because no one told us we've got to feel these emotions. No one has told us that we have hundreds of thousands of emotions that we have to feel while we are grieving. This is part of what I teach in the emotional reset, which is coming up. I have an emotional reset coming up to just help you guys with emotions. But if I just look here in the first section of emotions, shame, miserable, humiliation, depression, and powerless, grief, regret, disdain. Those emotions are hard to feel. Guilt, blame, destructive, vindictive, despair, helplessness. All of these emotions on this end of the graph, which I teach, are hard to feel. But there's other emotions that we want to feel all the time. Let me flip the chart over. Joy, complete, oneness, serenity, freedom, love, reverence. We want to be over here on this side of the chart. We want to be over here. But grief demands that we live here and we process every negative emotion that we have. It demands that we do. But we come up with ways to avoid doing that. We use the be strong and we use the confusion. Instead of feeling things, we start the spin. We overthink. We stay in the loop. Because as long as we're in confusion, as long as we're in the loop, we don't have to feel. I'm telling you guys, I used to do this too. Confusion gave me space. It would bring me time. It's a protection mechanism from the grief. It felt right, but confusion also keeps you frozen. It keeps you from healing. It keeps you from saying that thing that's absolutely true. I'm so mad at God. The healing can only begin when you're telling the truth. So let me ask you one hard question. Are you really confused, or are you just afraid what's underneath the confusion? Are you really this, or are you afraid to feel the emotion that's right here? That's really what's going on. I'm afraid. Stephanie says, I'm afraid. Yeah, because no one ever told us we have to feel the negative emotions too. We have to feel them. And then there's another one that we do. So we talked about be strong. We talked about confusion. And now let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety is another protection mechanism. And this is a big one. I see it in grievers all the time, especially in women. I especially see anxiety in women. Women tell me all the time I'm anxious, especially in women who have already lived with high functioning anxiety before the loss. You already had anxiety. You lived in that anxiety. You are comfortable with that anxiety. Suddenly the grief hits, and that anxiety doubles down. Doesn't go away, it doubles down. It becomes a constant undercurrent of motion and panic. Feller Red said, you came from my heart today. Yes, that's what it is about. It is about our heart. Suddenly the grief hits and the anxiety doubles down. It is the panic, the spinning, the doing, the fixing, the never ending stopping. It is exhausting to live in the anxiety. And it is also a way of avoiding your feelings, because every time you can say, I am anxious, I am in the anxiety, guess what happens? You again are not feeling the pain. Most of the time, and this may not be true for everyone, but most of the time when you say, I'm anxious or I'm feeling anxious, there is a thought connected to it. And when you think that thought, what it throws into your heart is anxiety. Does that look funny? Not spelling today. No, that's right. So you have a thought, it throws you a thought. I'm not going to get there in time. I got to call the doctor. I have 30 things to do today. I have to do this. I have to call the funeral home. I have to set up the appointment with my brothers and sisters. I have to. All the things I have to do. Whatever that thought is. And when that thought rolls down into your heart, it throws in the anxiety. Most of the time, there is thoughts spinning in your head over and over and over again. This is a way of your brain keeping you from here. It wants to keep you up here. You're feeling the anxiety here, but the brain wants to keep you there. It's a way of avoiding the feelings, because as long as you're anxious, you're too busy to grieve. As long as you're anxious, you're too busy to allow the grief into your heart. As long as you're anxious, you're not going to allow the grief in. As long as you're anxious, your brain is working overtime. Your brain is working overtime to keep you away from your heart. And it is keeping you numb. As long as you're anxious, you're never going to stop and drop into your heart. You're never going to stop and drop into the body. As long as you're anxious, you probably are not going to let the cry come, because you're concentrating on the anxiety, not the grief. Butterfly Roses says, I was only thinking I have to go to the grocery store today, and the panic set in. Under the thought, I have to go to the grocery store, is another thought. See if you can figure out what that is. Grief lives in your body. You can't outthink it. You can't outconfuse it. You can't over-organize it. You can't plan the way grief is going to show up. You can't toss it to the side. You cannot stop it. You have to breathe. Just like you have to breathe, you also have to feel. And anxiety is the one thing that many of us never want to feel. I'm going to say that again, and it might rub you the wrong way. Anxiety is the one thing that most of us don't want to feel. And I'm telling you that most of the times it's coming by a thought. And just like she said, I had this thought, I have to go to the grocery store. I promise you what the one that's causing the anxiety is the one just below that. I have to go to the grocery store, and whatever is whispering there is sending the anxiety. All right, let's talk about selflessness. And this is not a judgment. I'm sorry, selfishness. And this is not a judgment. Not in the way society tries to use the word to shame you. I'm talking about the kind of selfishness that comes from fear. You're so scared, you start to pull back. You're so scared, you start to pull back. You don't want to do the grieve thing. If I open up, no one will catch me. If I open up, I will let myself fall apart, and no one will be there for me to understand. No one understands what I'm going through, so I might as well just keep it to myself. It's better if I just use this pain and I just protect myself. When we are being selfish in our grief, we think of it as a form of protection, but it is actually a form of isolation. Did you hear me? It's actually a form of isolation. It's not that you're being selfish. Now, your character may be very selfish, but what you're doing in your grief when you're using your selfish character is that you are actually isolating yourself. You're isolating yourself from the chance to talk about it, the chance to move it, the chance to really get it moving in your heart. We become so focused on self-preservation that we don't allow anyone in. We don't share about our grief. We don't reach out for help. We don't let others walk with us. We don't let them share their grief with us. I don't want to hear that. The selfish one is the one that starts the fights in the group, the brothers and sisters. And I promise you, friends, I promise you it's not coming from the selfishness. It's coming from the fear. They are so scared. They are so scared that we're going to catch on to them. What's happening inside? People around us will not be able to handle this if I let it out. This kind of selfishness, my friend, is rooted in a lie that your grief is too much. It's rooted in a lie that your grief is too much for you and it's too much for them. That your pain is too messy. That you can't, thank you, Suzanne, that you're supposed to be further along than you are by now. So instead of healing, you hide. And the grief becomes a private prison. Because of your selfishness, you ended up locking yourself into grief jail. But here's the truth. Your grief deserves to be witnessed just like everyone else's. You deserve to be heard. You deserve to grieve for yourself and as yourself. And even if you're only sharing it with one person, you deserve to heal just like everyone else. So that brings me back to where we started. Right? That brings me back to where we started. Who are you now as the griever? And whatever your character is, it's not good or bad. I just want you to acknowledge it. Because this is the truth. But once you know it, you have to work on it and work through it with that character trait. Start to see your own patterns. Start to catch yourself using the brain instead of the heart. That's what happened to me yesterday. It's been months, you guys. In my mind, I'm going to tell you guys, I had this thought that was absolutely whispering, she's going to be like this for years. She's going to be like this for years. And I thought I had more time. But the truth is, I'm in the grieving process right now. And I have to take advantage of the time that I do have, and that she's absolutely hearing me, and that she's absolutely understanding me. And we can still have conversations. My mom is going to die. And I'm going to have lost my parents. And I will absolutely be an orphan. And I have to allow that in. I have to allow that in now and from here going forward. That being said, I'm not going to be letting it in every day, all day. Right now, at this point in my grief, I'm not going to go sit in it every day, all day. But when the emotion comes up, thank you, Monette. When the emotion comes up, I have to be there. I have to be that griever. And I knew this, but I was just so busy doing everything else. You have to catch yourself using your strength. You have to catch yourself using your confusion. You have to catch yourself using your anxiety. You have to catch yourself using your fear. You have to catch yourself being the person who avoids and try to reach the person of who you are. You don't have to become someone else to heal. Thank you, Aida. Thank you all. That's the person who avoids, Miss Nancy. We don't know who we are. But one of the things we have to do is we have to understand grief. And this is huge in grief. And this is actually sort of advanced in the grieving. But I want us all to start understanding whoever you are, that's how you're going to grieve. I wrote the Griever's Guide for anyone who really wants to understand the definition of grief. Go to the link in my bio that says click here for hope. And there you can find the Griever's Guide. If you're on any of the other platforms, it is in the link, the description. And it says Beacons AI at the Grief School. Jerry says, I'm afraid. Hello, Miss Deborah. So if you're someone who's been spinning in your confusion, if you're someone who keeps saying, I don't know, or I should be better by now, this is where you're going to start. This is your starting point. Here's the final truth I want to leave you with you. No one is coming to save you, and that is not a threat. Because guess what, my friends? I have a lot of beautiful women in here who just told me they will be my support. And I know that they will be my support. And I know they will show up for me. But guess what? Not one of them can save me. It's a thing that I have to do. I have to step out on my own power and say, I'm choosing to grieve. I'm choosing to grieve this now. I'm going to grieve it now and every step of the way. Because I showed you guys this. Every time she drops, right now, here we are on the hospice, but every time she drops, when she didn't recognize that ring, that was a drop. I have to be grieving. And I knew that to be true, and I was explaining it. But when she asked me that question yesterday, whoever you are, whether you're strong, whether you're silent, whether you're emotional, whether you're anxious, whether you're avoidant, whether you're confused, you're still a griever. You are still a griever. Your job is not to become someone else. Your job is to do the grief work. From where you are right now, your job is to do the grief work. And know that we got you. Know that I see you. Know that I am you. I'm you. I'm doing the exact thing that I'm telling you guys we need to do. Jerry says, from my heart to yours. Thank you, Jerry. So I don't know who you are in your grief. Are you the be strong? Are you a person in fear? Are you confused? Are you anxious? Are you avoiding? Are you selfish? Are you any of these? Because I'll tell you right now, you are all a griever. And you can have multiple of these, but you're still a griever. You're still going to be the griever. Hey, Miss Mary, how you doing today? How's it going? How'd you do last night? You're still a griever, friends, and that's the thing we need to understand. You might be none of these. You might just be the griever. You might already got the grieving thing down. Nancy says, I lost my husband 5 years ago and my son 8 months ago. My heart to yours, Miss Nancy. TikTok, I'll be there with you guys in a second to answer some questions. I want to share this with you. My name is Sharon Brubaker. I'm a grief specialist. I'm the owner of the Grief School, the place where healing begins. I teach an educational program on grief and loss. My goal is to teach you guys what you need to know to move through the grieving process. I had a conversation with a beautiful woman this morning on my walk, and she shared with me such an amazing, amazing grieving experience that she had yesterday that was filled with tears, crying, hugging, loving. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's the way grief should be done. But if nobody tells us how to do it, we're going to try to figure this out on our own. And a lot of us are going to fumble all the way through it. So I want to talk to you about where you can see me in the next few days in the Grief School. This week, Saturday, I'm going to be in, Saturday morning, I'm going to do a live at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, right here where you see me now. Tonight, if you've purchased Processing the Pain of Grief and you're a member of Honor Society, we're going to be doing Honor Society tonight from 4 to 6. 4 to 6 is where you will actually get to come in. You do an emotional check-in. You talk about where your heart is. You talk about how your grief has been this week. I'm going to teach a short lesson, and we go deep in grief. We absolutely go deep in grief. Social, I'm doing a special, which is Sundays with Sharon. I'm also going to be on a live. It's going to start at 8 a.m. in TikTok, 9 a.m. on the other social media sites. And I'm helping grievers to get prepared for Father's Day. How do I help my kids get prepared? What plans do I need to make? What do I need to have set up? What if I don't want to celebrate Father's Day? What if my kids don't want to celebrate Father's Day? What do I do? And that's what we're going to be talking about on Sunday. So it's called Sundays with Sharon. And that's for Father's Day. Next week, you can see me live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Tuesday, I'll be live at 10 a.m., Wednesday, 4 p.m., Thursday, 11 a.m. You don't need to set this up because I'll remind you each time. But I want to let you know that there's multiple times that you can find me throughout the week teaching on grief and helping women who are stuck in their grief. Grief Study Hall is every Tuesday, currently, from 1 to 3 Central Standard Time. Grief Study Hall is amazing because it's not done on live. It's actually done in Zoom. It's where you come in and you bring your questions. Am I doing this right? Did I handle this right? I also teach a lesson in Grief Study Hall, but it is the place to get, it's study hall. It's the place to get your questions answered on grief. It's the place to come in and meet other grieving women where we can talk and break grief down. So that's kind of where you can see me going throughout the week. And I will keep you updated as things are happening. Do download the Griever's Guide. It is an amazing program. I did lower the price of the video series from $27. It is currently on sale to $17. It's a great price. 6 videos. I believe they are like 30 minutes each. It breaks down grief. It breaks down the Griever's Guide. I actually teach live videos in there. Do not be freaked out. I did have hair when I recorded those. I do not have cancer for anyone who's meeting me for the first time. I just shaved my head and I'm losing my hair. And so I got tired of fighting with it. So I decided to just go with it. All right, friends. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you for this hour. I hope this helps. I hope this story helps. And I will be sharing more of my mom's story as time goes on and as we're learning more for her. TikTok, stay there. I have a couple questions to answer for you. I love you all, and I will see you tonight.